June 30th, 2023 was when I officially graduated from my internal medicine residency program. I was privileged to be awarded the Resident of the Year during graduation. I did see in myself the progress. You always need to work on yourself as a principal. Intern year, second year, and then my third year where I was one of the chief residents, I always did my best to put in work, and seems like it did pay off. So on July 3rd, which was a Monday, 2023, was when I started my role as an attending physician. Moving from a resident mindset to the attending mindset was one of the things that I had to do. I had to learn quickly. The good thing was I shared the same office with my mentor in residency, Dr. James Turo. And he was very instrumental in my training to be who I am today. If I had questions, sure, I did ask. But now, going from a resident mindset where everything, you get asked a question by the nurse, by the patient, some subspecialist. Oh, we usually like to use this term, I'm just a resident. We defer everything to the attending physician to make the final decision for the patient on that case. So now that I was the attending physician, well, everyone pointed fingers at me. So I had to make the final decision with the cases that I had. To me, I saw that level of responsibility coming. So what I did as a resident, which will help you if you're a medical resident watching this or a medical student, is in your intern year, take your first 6 months and then work as hard as you can, gleaning behind the wisdom of your leaders. When you become a second year, after your first 6 months, try to think like a third year. And that's what I did, which I think was very helpful. In my third year, I started thinking like an attendant. Well, in this situation, what will an attendant physician do? And I think that was very helpful. Now that I'm an attendant, I found that how my thinking went was very helpful and instrumental to what seemed to be going on with me and my patients in the room. So July, I started my role. Of course, back and forth, learning here and there, reading. And then in August, I took a 10-day dedicated study time. I took time off from work. Technically, I used my paid time off, vacation, but I was not vacationing. I was just spending time in the basement, studying for my boards. Some of us are privileged to not work before taking the boards. Not everyone is. Being married to my lovely wife, having 3 kids, I had to work. So I worked and I took 10 days off, and that 10 days was for dedicated studying. So this leads me into board prep. So for the third years watching me, second years, I would say that when you start, your goal here is to read as much as you can. I cannot stress that enough. Read as much as you can. The reason being, when you become an attendant, and you're in the room with your patient, that's where your level of knowledge gets tested. Patients come in and they have multiple questions, and if your knowledge is not, or your foundation is not solid enough, sometimes you give answers that you feel yourself that they're not, they don't add up. Of course, patients have Dr. Google on their smartphones. They can Google certain things before they come and see you. So your knowledge is very helpful because you need to convince them against what they've read on Google or agree with what they've read on Google. So this is where your medical knowledge plays a major role. Reading, gathering all the knowledge in your between your first, second year, and I will say that third year, make sure that you complete MICSAP. So MICSAP is one of the tools that internal medicine residents get to use to prepare for the boards. And also every year, you get to sit for your in-training service exam. So using that resource will help you. So what I did was I was able to go through MICSAP twice. So for those watching me, if you've not done that yet and you're about to graduate, I'll recommend spending time to do that. There is a course called Awesome Review. Awesome because it was awesome. I will recommend that. I'm not paid to advertise for him, but I'll recommend that to you. For those preparing for the ABIM internal medicine certification exam. It was intense, by the way. I did split mine up. Instead of doing it for the whole week, I did 3 days, 3-day weekend. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then the following week, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It's a lot. It's a lot that you need to know as a doctor. It's a lot that you need to know in the field of internal medicine because you can branch into different subspecialties. Awesome review. Make sure you have completed mix-up and make sure that your foundational knowledge is solid enough. And then the big boy comes into play, UWorld. I started doing more UWorld questions after I had completed my awesome review. I did my awesome review springtime, and then it was UWorld. And while I was doing the UWorld, there is my notebook section. So whatever that I couldn't glean at that point when I was studying, I copied it into my notebook. So the tables, the graph, the charts, all those things, put it in my notebook. So during my 10-day dedicated study time, all I did was I did my incorrect questions, and then my whatever I had, the tables and charts that I had in my notebook section for the UWorld. So during that 10 days, it was just UWorld that I was doing every day. 5 a.m. I'm up, do my morning routine, as you saw in my previous video, devotion, pray, exercise here and there, take a shower, and all I did was go to the basement. So I moved my car from the driveway. Looks like my kids are becoming too smart for me now. When they open the window, they look outside, oh, Dad's car is in the driveway, he's home, let's go look for him. So I moved the car from the driveway to, I parked on the street. I go to the basement and then studying begin. Walk back and forth on the iPad, sit, read 1 or 2. So that's what I was doing. And let's say if I want to take a break, I just message my wife, hey, can you take the kids upstairs? At that time, school had not started, so she takes them upstairs, I come, I eat, I go back to the basement, so there was this dedication, is this work that everybody needs to put in when you're preparing for your boards. That was my dedicated time, and that is exactly what I did. The day before my exam, I took it on the last day, August 28th. I booked a hotel, and that's why I slept for the night, because I didn't want traffic and other, oopsies to happen, to me while getting to my exam center. So the hotel was a few minutes from the exam center. I took mine in Piscataway in New Jersey. Took that exam, drove home. The next day, I was back to work. It's a lot of work, okay? But it gets better. During residency, due to your schedule, you keep working, you only get 1 day off in a week, and then you miss birthdays, parties, But I would say that in September, after I was done with my boards, I think we went to 2 weddings. One was my friend from high school, and then one was one of the ladies from our church, So I would say that it gets better. I was able to take the kids to the dinosaur park. We did Disney on Ice, So again, it gets better. But within my first 6 months of an attending physician, of course, the first 2 months was rough because I had to get used to the system. I had to study more, spend more time with the books so I can take the boards. God being so good, I passed my internal medicine boards, making me a board certified physician in the United States. So this brings me back to the whole idea of dreams. Everyone has a dream. You're here for a reason. You're on earth for a reason. Maybe you may be thinking, oh, there are too many medical students, by the time I become a doctor, there will not be any patients, and that will be a lie. Because when I started, I'm seeing patients who have been in the prison for some years, and then guess what? They're back in the community. Well, they need a doctor. Well, they get assigned to me, or they read my review online, and then they choose to come here. I have people in their 40s coming in, and the last time they saw a doctor was their pediatrician. So pediatricians take care of people from birth to about 18 years old. After 18, internal medicine physicians take over. So your patients are there. They're waiting for you to be done. So always, when things get difficult, think about that. My patients are waiting for me. Let me keep working, and one day I can take great care of them. Clinic work can become tedious as the number of patients you have grow. Because as your number of patients grow, as you saw in my previous video, I go through my in-basket, and you could see that there were people that I had lab results that I have to call. So as your patient population grow, there are more labs you order, there are more phone calls you need to make. There are more refills you need to do. Sometimes you're in the clinic, you have back-to-back patients, and maybe 12 people called that they have questions, So even though the work is supposed to end at 5 o'clock, it does not technically end at 5 o'clock. you need to stay longer, make some phone calls. Compared to the hospital, I have the privilege of working with residents, and as most residents will know, they do most of the work. With the help from the residents, I would say that the hospital work tend to be easier, straightforward, because 3 years of internal medicine, you have to do a lot of weeks inpatient. So you're already used to the back and forth as an inpatient doctor. Compared to the clinic, the weeks we spend outpatient is not compared to what we do inpatient. So outpatient, there are new things that you need to learn. You need to understand these insurance. In a hospital, anybody comes in, it doesn't matter, we take care of them. In the clinic, you need to know what insurance, what blood work will the insurance pay for? What bill would the patient be getting later on? These are the extra things that you need to learn if you're a primary care physician. So which one would I choose? Well, I love both. And I love both. So far, things are going well. Is the dedication part of what I saw myself becoming. A young man in a white coat who sit and talk to his patient. And that's what I'm doing. So I'll choose primary care over hospital medicine. Hospital medicine, on the other hand, also challenges you because there are certain acute issues that happen that you need to think quick on your feet. To add to that, in a hospital, you have consult. The subspecialist will see the patient for you within 24 hours. Outpatient, it's tough. You may refer somebody to a neurologist, but they will not get an appointment until 3 months' time. Well, at that point, you have to be that neurologist. You need to be helping the patient, But sometimes if it's overwhelming, the patients cannot handle it, they're in acute pain, we just tell them to go to the hospital. My first 6 months, I would say that have been a blessing. Working with great staff who are very dedicated at what they do and very supportive. The team that you fall into does help. We cannot know everything, but at least if you have great teammates, great team members, they tend to help you out and help you figure things out. So I will say that first 6 months have been great. I want to encourage the resident out there, the medical student out there, that it may seem overwhelming right now, but things get better, all right? So work on your craft. I know you can do it. He who has promised is faithful. I'll see you guys in my next video. Shalom.